Coming up on KUJH News, locations at the University of Kansas's campus have started to become vaccination sites.
KU's Asian American Student Union reacts to the rise in Asian hate crimes.
And how the KU club hockey team has adjusted its season due to the pandemic. All that and more right now on KUJH News.
Live from the studio in Stauffer Flint at the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Good afternoon and welcome to KUJH News. I'm Alexander Worth.
And I'm Morena Seaver. Nearly 3 weeks ago, President Biden signed a $1.9 trillion federal relief package called the American Rescue Plan Act. The plan designates $350 billion of emergency funding for state and local governments.
Lawrence Douglas County is expected to receive $42.6 million total from this COVID-19 stimulus package. The National Association of Counties estimates that $23.7 million of that total will go to Douglas County, with the remaining $18.9 million going directly to the city of Lawrence.
The CARES Act, signed in March of last year, only allowed governments to use funds for costs directly related to the pandemic, but this new plan leaves more room for local governments to decide where the money goes.
Lawrence Mayor Brad Finkeldy says he'd like to see the city use these funds to help the homeless, industries hit the hardest by the pandemic, and residents who need assistance with basic needs like food and rent.
Lawrence Douglas County should receive the first allocation of these payments before May 10th, 60 days after President Biden signed the plan into law.
According to yesterday's COVID update released by Lawrence Douglas County Public Health, Douglas County currently has 213 active COVID cases, with 20 new cases added since Monday. The cumulative number of cases rises to just under 9,000.
On Monday, the COVID-19 vaccine became available to all Kansans aged 16 years or older. As Kansas heads into its last phase of the vaccine prioritization plan, Governor Laura Kelly is encouraging every Kansan to get the vaccine. Kansans can go to kansasvaccine.gov to find out where to go to get vaccinated.
The School of Pharmacy on campus is now becoming a vaccine center for KU faculty, staff, and eventually students. Matthew Johnstone gives us an inside look at what KU vaccine clinics might look like.
I'm currently standing outside the KU School of Pharmacy, where trays of the coronavirus vaccine are being administered to KU faculty and staff. The first day of vaccinating on KU's campus began Friday, March 30th, and ran from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Additional days are planned, bringing in more faculty and hopefully reaching all students, in addition to the greater Lawrence community at large, until the need is no more. I spoke with School of Pharmacy Dean Reagan about how faculty were selected.
Employees of any kind of the university all were pooled, and they were randomly drawn out of that pool to be contacted and given the opportunity to sign up for the clinic today.
As the state of Kansas moves to the latter stages of the vaccine rollout, more locations are becoming distribution centers.
We chose this location because we can move a lot of people through here in a short amount of time. We have a large labor pool here. We have students that are prepared and trained to vaccinate. Today we're going to administer just right at 600 vaccines. And then we will administer close to 600 on Monday also.
With the goal of protecting as many members of the Lawrence community as possible, make sure you keep an eye out for your KU email so you don't miss your shot at vaccination. For KUJH News, I'm Matthew Johnstone.
In addition to having vaccines distributed on Friday, the school also held a clinic on Monday and will continue welcoming those to schedule appointments for their vaccine.
Now we're going to send it over to lead reporter Steph Manchin, who took an in-depth look at how the rise in Asian hate crimes is being addressed here at KU.
Nearly 2 weeks after a mass shooting in Atlanta, Georgia claimed the lives of 6 women of Asian descent, members of the KU community reflect on how these hateful acts impacted them. University leaders hosted a support Zoom call Thursday for students, faculty, and staff to share their experiences with microaggressions and other racial discrimination on campus. Fallon Russell, a half-Filipino sophomore from Shawnee, said she was shocked when she heard the news of the shootings in Atlanta.
It is really sad to see that that people have to live in fear like this. I don't know, just being in America, you feel like you shouldn't have to deal with that.
These targeted crimes have only surged over the last year, with many groups believing that the Chinese population is responsible for the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. According to the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism, anti-Asian hate crimes rose 149% from 2019 to 2020. Honora Maggio, president of KU's Asian American Student Union, said that while her initial reaction was shock, the rise in anti-Asian hate crimes over the last year had led up to this very moment.
I feel like when something like that happens to your community that you identify with, you don't know what really to do or how to react. I knew it was sad, but I didn't know how to process those feelings, and I didn't understand like how much it could impact me and like the community.
Interim Vice Provost of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, D.A. Graham, said he was committed to improving conditions for all marginalized communities across KU. For KUJH, this has been Steph Manchin.
Thank you, Steph, for that inside look at our Asian American community and how these hate crimes are affecting them.
It's really upsetting seeing this going on across the country. And, you know, Jewish hate crimes are at an all-time high. And as a Jewish person, seeing other minorities being affected, it's really just heartbreaking. So hopefully KU does something to prevent this in the future.
Absolutely. We'll now send it over to Halen Wilhite for the first look at the weather. Halen?
Well, the next few days are just going to be getting better and better and better. Temperatures are going to be warming up. Rain is out for the week, and it's going to be a beautiful holiday weekend. I'll have more details about how warm it's going to get and what to expect for the Easter weekend as well. But back to you.
Thank you, Halen. And coming up on KUJH News, I'll give you an inside look at the Lawrence, Kansas Police Department's plans to prevent mass shootings here in Lawrence. Stay with us.
Why doesn't my skin look like theirs? Why is my nose so big? I'm never gonna look like those girls.
Welcome back. A recent burst in gun violence across the country has brought back fears of mass shootings. Alexander Worth visited the Lawrence Police Department last week, isn't that right?
That's right, Marina. And I had a great conversation with the police captain, and I found out all about their plans to prevent gun violence here in Lawrence. Let's take a look. As the coronavirus pandemic continues to rage on, another pandemic is once again emerging. The United States went 12 months without a single mass shooting. Now, 18 have been killed and many more injured in shootings in Atlanta and Boulder just 6 days apart. I sat down with Captain Troy Squire of the Lawrence, Kansas Police Department and asked him about plans in place to ensure that a mass shooting doesn't happen here.
We have been training and continue to train our officers to respond to these sort of active shooter, active attacker events.
This graph shows just how sharp the drop-off in mass shootings was from 2019 to 2020 because of the pandemic. 3 months into 2021, and the U.S. has seen as many mass shootings as the entire 2020 calendar year. Depending on who you ask, the definition of a mass shooting depends on the number of people killed. The LKPD, however, defines it as, quote, an individual or individuals actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. As Lawrence is a college town, I asked Captain Squire about a potential situation occurring here on KU's campus.
There is absolutely nothing that will need to happen other than an event happening for Lawrence PD to respond and help KU or vice versa.
Since 2016, the LKPD has offered community outreach and safety programs on mass shooting situations. For more on civilian education and outreach for active shooter drills, visit lawrenceks.org/police.
I'm glad the LKPD has plans in place to prevent these violent acts. I just hope they never have to be used.
Yeah, I agree. And if you or anyone at home would like to have a more in-depth look at the learning opportunities offered by the police department, see the link below.
The first domestic violence center in the state of Kansas, located in Lawrence, is the newest beneficiary of donations from Rock Chalk Review, a show put on annually by Greek organizations on campus. KUJH's Emily Johnson has more.
Rock Chalk Review has donated over $2.5 million to local charities since 1949. This year, the focus of that fundraising is the Willow Center. The Willow is a domestic violence center that provides shelter, support, and services to survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking. Once Rock Chalk Review picked the center as a beneficiary, Will Averill, Director of Communications at Willow, said it has been a fantastic collaboration.
Well, we were incredibly excited that had happened and that we had been selected. They had kind of stated that they were looking for an organization to be part of Rock Chalk for about the next 3 years, which is fantastic news.
Avril said that the money will be going towards a number of different services that the shelter provides. All the money will be going to survivors directly. Rock Chalk Review is a musical show performed by Greek organizations. The advisory board chose the Willow because they constantly have people coming in and needing resources.
Since there's been less goods and help to the Willow Domestic Violence Center this past year because of COVID, we thought it would be a really good benefactor to do.
To donate or purchase virtual show tickets, head over to rockchalkreview.com. This is Emily Johnson reporting from Lawrence, Kansas for KUJH News.
Thanks, Emily. My sorority is actually in the Rock Chalk Review performance this year, and I know it's a lot of fun for our members, but also for a great cause.
I've personally never done it, but it's great that they're doing it for a good cause this year.
Absolutely. KU Housing has officially stated that Oliver Hall will be torn down 2 years after the 55-year-old residence hall closed its doors to students. The Kansas Board of Regents unanimously approved the demolition last May, but until now there was no confirmation from KU Housing on whether the demolition would happen.
Oliver Hall has had a history of maintenance issues and was originally closed for renovations until the university announced it had no plans to reopen the hall to students. KU anticipates the demolition will cost $2.2 million and has proposed partially financing the project with campus parking fees. KU spokesperson Aaron Barkham-Peterson said there is no update or timeline on the project since the Board of Regents approved the plans for demolition.
Coming up, we'll have all things entertainment along with the inside story on one of the films represented in Kansas City's film festival. Stay with us.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Welcome back. Lil Nas X, Sweetie, and film festivals. Lauren Hugo has all the latest entertainment news.
Thanks. Breaking news, it is my birthday today. I am 23 and I'm excited for whatever that means. And as a treat, I did bring this. But nonetheless, we have celebrity drama to get to. Lil Nas X has been one of the biggest topics of conversation after releasing his controversial music video for Montero, Call Me By Your Name, last week. The singer-rapper explores the complicated relationship between religion and sexuality in a raunchy video where he not only makes out with himself, but rides a dancing pole to the depths of the underworld. On top of this, he dropped what people are calling Satan shoes with a New York-based company, MSCHF. The sneakers are decorated with a pentagram and reference a Bible verse. They sold 666 pairs for $1,018 each and are said to contain a drop of human blood in the sole. The controversy had upset several people on social media, including quarterback Trevor Lawrence, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, and NBA star Nick Young, who took to Twitter to express their concerns and outrage. Nike is also suing the art collective company for using their shoes and likeness in this drop. If you want to know more, be sure to tune in to Jayhawk Jukebox tomorrow at 4:45. Next up, Jordan Nicole broke the news last week on Sweetie and Quavo's shocking split. However, the drama did not end there. There was footage from 2020 recently released by TMZ showing the rappers getting into a physical altercation out and inside an elevator. In the minute-and-a-half video, Sweetie strikes Quavo in the face and Migos rapper drags her into the elevator, falling on top of her. This video has the internet taking sides, but it's important to recognize that this relationship did not look healthy and the split may have been for the best. That about wraps up Hollywood with Hugo. Last week I covered the Free State Fest, but today we're changing gears and taking a look at the Kansas City Film Fest. Stephanie Morales-Macedo has more on how a group of KU students got to submit their short film.
This year, the Kansas City Film Fest is celebrating its 25th anniversary. Because of COVID-19, the film festival will be held virtually, but that has not stopped filmmakers from sharing their stories. Unknown, directed by former KU student Zach Boehm, is a mystery about a man who wakes up on a beach and does not remember who he is. The inspiration for his film came from someone near and dear to his heart.
My inspiration actually came from my grandma, oddly enough. She was dealing with dementia and Alzheimer's late in her life. And, you know, there were periods of time where she would forget who she was or where she was.
Sophomore Sammy Gotskin played the role of Molly, who discovers the man who was washed up on the beach, making this her first major acting debut. Gotskin prepared for this role that was out of her comfort zone, but she said that Bame's patience and creative vision helped make the film happen.
He was super chill and super collaborative in some points too, and definitely was very creative and wanted to try everything.
Bame submitted unknown to multiple film festivals, but he could not believe it when he found out that it was accepted into the Kansas City Film Fest, an honor not often given to first-time directors.
When I got that email, it was kind of like I was in disbelief. I had to read it a couple times, and then I was like, oh my God, this is real.
Even Gotskin said that she was in shock when she heard the news.
Sort of solidified, this is what I meant to do, and I was so happy and so proud of Zach because he did such a good job. He really deserves it.
The Kansas City Film Fest takes place from April 12th to the 18th. The official schedule is not yet released. For KUJH, I'm Stephanie Morales-Macedo.
It's amazing to see these festivals make it work in a pandemic, and I'm excited to see all the upcoming films. And speaking of acting debuts, Stephanie, our own entertainment reporter, is currently working on a commercial herself. Later on in the show, we'll have the latest in Lawrence and Kansas City sports news, and after the break, Halen Wilhite will bring you the full weather forecast. Stay with us.
There's a parenting alert this morning about the danger of teens vaping. A huge surge of high schoolers using e-cigarettes or vaping.
The FDA warning about liquid nicotine used in e-cigarettes.
Vaping is a highly addictive and dangerous trend that has become very popular amongst young adults. Most e-cigarettes contain nicotine, which is highly addictive and can harm adolescent brain development, which continues into the early to mid-20s. This bad habit must be broken now, before it is too late.
Well, I'm here with your full KUJH weather update for this evening. Taking a look outside, current conditions right now are pretty mild for the most part. Currently in Lawrence, we're at 53 degrees. Topeka also at 50 degrees. And once you get a little bit more north, we're sitting more towards 50 degrees. But for the most part, again, pretty mild, but not too bad, honestly. But the sun is shining, so that's always good to see. And a couple of clouds are still sticking around for the area, but they will be moving out once we get closer to the evening, and it'll be pretty clear for the night. But right now, here in Lawrence, we're at 53 degrees with that northwest wind blowing at 15 to 20 miles per hour. Not too bad, as I mentioned before. It's not too bad. That wind does make it a little bit chilly, and you definitely might want to wear a lighter jacket as we get into the evening hours, because we are going to be dropping from 52 degrees at 5 p.m. and going into 11 o'clock, we're going to be dropping down to about 35 at 11. But for the bottom, we will be bottoming out to about 26 degrees. Now that is pretty cold, so definitely want to wear a heavier coat for tonight. And also, if you have any kind of plants you just planted for the spring weather, you definitely want to put a blanket over those, because frost is definitely a factor for tonight. But good news is that tomorrow we're going to be jumping right back up into the mid-50s at 55 degrees and winds from the northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And since it's springtime, allergies are now a problem. And as an allergy sufferer myself, I decided to throw this little diagram for tomorrow. But right now, tree pollen is still pretty high, as well as the grass pollen. But the allergy risk we are mostly looking at is for Friday, when that wind is definitely going to start picking up. But check out all these numbers. 68 for Friday, and again, that wind is going to be blowing a little bit, so allergy sufferers definitely need to carry some tissues around. But check out this holiday weekend, 78 for Sunday on Easter. If you've been planning that Easter egg hunt with your family and friends, it is going to be an absolutely beautiful day to do that. And we're going to be jumping even up to 80 degrees on Monday. And once we get into next week as well, the storm chances are going to start popping back up again. But for right now, it is just absolutely gorgeous. But that is all I have for this weather update. Coming up next, your latest in sports.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas. A great place to be you.
Welcome back. Baseball is back, college basketball is over, and the Kansas City Chiefs still seem to be the talk of the town. We'll now send it over to Jenna Wilson for the latest in KU and professional sports.
Thank you, guys. KU basketball received a big announcement Monday afternoon after Kansas junior Tyon Grant Foster decided to enter the transfer portal. Grant Foster, the former #1 ranked junior college player in the country, appeared in 20 games for the Jayhawks during his lone season with the program. After averaging 3.1 points and 2.2 rebounds in 8.3 minutes per game. Throughout his season here, Coach Self pointed to the lack of opportunities Grant Foster had been given to both get comfortable in the Kansas system and prove that he deserves a spot in KU's regular rotation. Grant Foster is hoping to land where he can receive more playing time and make a name for himself the remainder of his career. Sophomore Tristan Anyaruna has also decided to transfer this week, giving the Jayhawks the second player in the portal. Anyaruna originally joined KU as the number 55 ranked player and number 15 ranked small forward in the class of 2019. He made a statement thanking all the KU basketball fans for their support during his 2 years with the program, but seeing what other opportunities open up for him is the best decision right now. While the Jayhawks unfortunately lost 2 players this week, the basketball program landed commitment from 4-star point guard Bobby Pettiford. A day after receiving a scholarship offer from Kansas head coach Bill Self, Pettiford decided that he will be a Jayhawk. This is quite exciting news for the team, as Pettiford is one of the best aggressive guards in the class of 2021. A congrats to our baseball team for another victory in a comeback over Missouri Tuesday afternoon. An 8-run rally in the bottom of the 7th propelled the Kansas Jayhawks to a 10-9 victory over the Missouri Tigers. The Jayhawks are back in action April 1st through 3rd against Texas at Hoagland Ballpark. This year has been an unusual one for sports teams, some getting to compete and some not having a season at all. This past week, I talked with the director of the hockey club about what their team has been up to facing a canceled season. Let's have a look.
Down after falling into debt, KU's hockey club has rebranded itself as one of the top club hockey teams in the nation. Prior to the pandemic, the team qualified for the 16-team American Collegiate Hockey Association Division III National Championship. They were also ranked as the #1 seed in the Pacific region. Hoping to finish off with the successful 2019-2020 season, the Jayhawks were disappointed to find out the abrupt end to their season will continue into the 2021 semester.
It was disappointing. Obviously, we wanted to have a season. We wanted to travel and play games and let the guys have fun. But everyone understood that there was a safety risk involved.
The team usually holds both their practice and home games at the Silverstein iRec Center in Kansas City, but that has changed this year due to guidelines and restrictions set by the rec center to remain closed until the end of summer. With sights set on a promising season next year, the team is using this time to focus on funding for their program and has raised more than $7,500 working with KU Endowment, KU Senate, and the Ambler Student Recreation Fitness Center. The team is also selling custom-made replica jerseys on their official website periodically.
But we're hopeful, and we hope that, obviously, with everyone, that the pandemic can be over shortly and we can return to play and be as normal as we can possibly be.
The program will continue to post updates regarding the 2021 and 2022 season on their official website. With KUJHNews, Jenna Wilson.
Hopefully we get to see the hockey team competing next season. We'll go now to Marina Seaver for a look at one of the ways the Kansas City Chiefs are leaving their mark on the community.
We all know what the Kansas City Chiefs are capable of on the field, but the impact Mahomes and company have on the community goes way beyond football. I had the opportunity this week to talk with representatives from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Kansas City about how the Chiefs help provide critical support for club kids. Let's take a look. Boys and Girls Clubs in Kansas City specialize in serving kids from underserved communities and providing them access to the same opportunities as youth from more affluent backgrounds. The support members receive from their clubs is complemented by a strong relationship with Chiefs players, a relationship that Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Kansas City President and CEO Dr. Dred Scott says the organization leverages to the benefit of their kids.
Because of that great relationship, not only have we benefited from dollars or resources coming in, but unique opportunities for our kids.
The most recent of those opportunities came when Tyreek Hill paid a visit to a local Boys and Girls Club to celebrate the winners of Kansas City Youth of the Year, a leadership and recognition competition at Boys and Girls Club organizations across the country.
We've always loved football, so it was just a great opportunity to meet him and meet a real celebrity. For him to come in there and talk to us like he was one of our peers or something like that, I think that was actually really cool.
In addition to congratulating the new Youth of the Year representatives, Hill took the time to talk to club kids about perseverance.
It was more about connecting with the kids on a more human level, so that they had yet another example of, someone that looked like them, sounds like them, came from environments that, they're currently living in, and they can aspire to do great things just as he's done.
Club kids even got to work with Adidas to design the cleats that Patrick Mahomes wore in the NFL's My Cause, My Cleats game this year. Junior Youth of the Year Michaela says clubs are special because they give kids the opportunity to do what they love. As for the Chiefs and their work with Kansas City clubs, Dr. Scott says he looks forward to that relationship continuing for years to come. Marina Seaver, KUJH.
Thanks, Marina. It's great to see the Chiefs giving back to the community off the field, but what will they look like this season on the field? It's been almost 2 months since the Super Bowl, and the team has spent that time trying to address their biggest weakness. Matt Mitchie has your off-season update.
Thanks, Jenna. Now, if you are a Kansas City Chiefs fan like me, you probably watched the Super Bowl with fingers covering your eyes because you just could not bear to watch this happen over and over and over again. It was very clear that our offensive line struggled in the Super Bowl, and that would be the number one thing that the Chiefs would have to address following the game. Now, have they done so? Yes, though not how you might expect. You see, they've already cut Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher, our two starting tackles. Now, this might be a massive change to the offensive line that you might not have expected. Doesn't sound like a good thing, but these were pretty necessary cap casualties. The Chiefs were $20 million over the cap, and both of them sustained pretty major injuries in the season. So the Chiefs have to replace them and have tried to do so throughout free agency, but that looks a little bit different too. See, they've picked up more offensive line players. However, first they picked up a center to replace Austin Ryder. They picked up Joe Thuney, and they've picked up Kyle Long. These are all guards. We cut our tackles. It's an interesting conundrum that the Chiefs have placed themselves in through free agency. Now, as long as we have this guy at the quarterback, I think it's going to be okay. More moves are being made than just the offensive line. You can visit our website at tv.ku.edu, where I took an in-depth look at money in the NFL and Chiefs free agency. Jenna, back.
Thanks, Matt. That about wraps it up for the sports this week, but the Kansas City Royals opening day is tomorrow, so get excited for that. Next week, we'll take a look at how the season has started and what to look out for. Back to you, Alexander and Marina.
Thanks, Jenna. When we come back, we'll be talking about Siegler Pharmacy and Theater Lawrence collaborating to get people vaccinated. Stay with us. Welcome back. COVID vaccines and entertainment. What a unique combination. Yeah. Jordan Nicole has the latest.
Since the month of February, Siegler Pharmacy has been working to vaccinate as many Kansans as possible.
After receiving their shot, people must wait the required 15 minutes in the lobby. Here is where Theater Lawrence displays on-screen entertainment from previous performances. Last week, Siegler said that by the end of the week, the pharmacy will have given out about 2,000 COVID-19 vaccine doses at Theater Lawrence. Mary Dubton, Executive Director of Theater Lawrence, had this to say.
Well, we've done 10 clinics so far. We have another big one scheduled for tomorrow. Let's see, tomorrow's a second dose clinic. Monday, we're doing huge clinic. It'll be first doses. So I think we're scheduled at least every week. Wow. One, if not two clinics through the end of April.
Currently, the state of Kansas is vaccinating people who qualify for phases 1 through 4. However, Siegler said that he wants to focus on elderly people 65 and over because those are the ones who have been experiencing trouble getting vaccinated. The best part of this process is the Hamilton-inspired sticker that Kansans can receive at the end of their vaccination. The sticker says, "I took my shot." For KUJH Entertainment, I'm Jordan Nicole. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Jordan. And when I got my vaccine, it definitely did not have an entertainment aspect to it, but I'm glad people are finding ways to make it a more fun and enjoyable experience.
Absolutely. It sounds like Theater Lawrence will be the place to be this summer with drive-in movie showings and more.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. That's all we have for you for this KUJH News on March 31st.
To view our stories again or to share them with your friends, visit our website at tv.ku.edu and check out all of our social media pages. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday at 4 p.m. for the latest news, weather, and sports.
With Miranda Seaver, I'm Alexander Worth. Have a great evening, everybody.